to my channel. My name is Jenny and I'm a light walker, and I welcome all light leaders and light workers and light walkers and into this space. So welcome. So today I thought I would come on and share specifically how I met with my higher self, which I've never really shared publicly. Today I did share it on my Instagram, and I thought, let me come on and just describe it in person, how that happened. And I would love to hear your story down below in the comments. So, I think as we all ascend higher frequencies and tune into our higher selves, and we begin to bridge that gap and become more one as much as we can in this dimension. So what happened was, I have been really having the intention of tuning into my higher self. And that's how it really starts, right? Is that you begin with a really good intention that goes out into the quantum field, right? And I want to say I've been thinking about this. I made the decision to intentionally connect with my higher self probably for a couple months. And I did, in a way of knowingness. That's what I get. I get kind of this clairsentience that I just kind of know things. And so I connected in kind of that way before, feeling like I knew of my higher self in a sense of, oh, it's there. And I would get messages come in that I knew were not of my own egoic structure, Jenny, but of, my higher self. So, and when that started, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even tell you, because I think my whole life I've been that way. But I wanted to experience more closeness, yeah, more distinct, like if I could have had an apparition show up saying I'm your higher self, like I would have been like, oh yeah, this is great. And I wasn't really sure. That's my cat, sorry. I wasn't really sure how that would look, because I wouldn't imagine, that my higher self would look like this incarnation, right? Because my higher self has had many incarnations. So what's that even mean, right? So I love to explore the idea of higher self, but clearly obviously had this idea that it was outside of me, which we're going to explore more on this channel, because I think the more we think things are outside of us, we're not dialed into actual reality, which is more of a we're projecting what's inside of us outside of us kind of a thing. Anyway, so on a particular day, I was doing my walk down by the water where I live, and again, I had this intention, but it was very general. Okay, this is not a forced thing. It wasn't specific. It's just always kind of this intention of, this is my time to connect with my higher self, get outside my head. Movement does that for me, and especially being by the water, I think amplifies everything. So when you walk and you're by the water, I can see I had, kind of set up for an easier entry into this. I didn't realize at the time, but into this experience. Anyway, so I'm walking along about half a mile away from my home. It just felt like suddenly I wasn't alone. Like suddenly I felt that something came in to my head and kind of came into my headspace. Like in my mind, I just felt like I wasn't alone in my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. Just kind of like that. Like I was sharing space in my head with something that was just filled with joy and wonder and amazement. Like this thing comes in and is like, oh, um yes, I felt love, but I want to say really it was love, but it was more exhilaration and joy than just feeling like what I think of love is like this yummy, comfortable feeling. And this was more of it had an element of excitement and wonder, like, oh, wow, ooh, like, you know, and it was like everything was amped up. Like every colors were more vivid. However, that's been happening to me for a while. So that wasn't especially new to this particular day, but everything was just vivid. And I could feel the air and the sun on me. I could taste the air. And as I was walking along, I was touching the leaves. Everything seemed to be dancing. Everything seemed to be um beyond beautiful, like just beyond, right? And I'm and my face, I mean, I'm walking along, I'm like like seeing everything for the first time, which is hysterical, and I'm sure I looked bizarro. If you had seen me just walking down the street, like really looking like a little kid exploring Earth for the first time is kind of how it felt. Like everything was just so over the top, wondrous, right? It was like I was filled with joy and wonder. That's what it was like. It was like joy and wonder. Like intellectually, I knew everything. It wasn't about a knowing, it had nothing to do with what you know and what you don't know. It was, the wonder of it all, like the appreciation and wonder of it all, just being so amazing because it was a beautiful day. Um, and nature is amazing, right? And the water's amazing and the plants were amazing. And I was on my walk and I'm just all of a sudden realizing I'm kind of sharing consciousness in a way that I'd never done before. And I honestly, I mean, it sounds like I'm saying I felt possessed. That's not the right word. I just felt like I was sharing space. It was fully like permission granted. Like, sure, explore this with me. Like, and this went on for another half a mile. And then it was kind of a lightheaded feeling too, like a very kind of very light feeling. And it just kind of came to where I kind of turned back around, going back the way I come. So I'm right by the water's edge. And I kind of was like, okay, I think this has been, like, I don't want to say long enough, like in the sense of like this has been long enough, but like I was kind of like, okay, I think I'm ready to just be fully me again without this travel companion. So it just kind of released this feeling of like all of a sudden I wasn't in that state anymore. Um, Not that it's a huge difference, it's super subtle, but I just was like thinking to myself, uh, like, what the heck was that? Right. And I'm thinking, and I said it out loud. I was like, who are you? I fully expected to like know or hear or see something like, honestly, I mean, it could have been disembodied, ghost spirit of someone. It could have been an alien. It could have been, I didn't know what. I was like, something though, right? And I just heard like, I am you. What? You. I was like, I'm looking up and I can tell it was like outside again, I sensed like an outside of me-ness kind of speaking at me like that. Now, I mean, I didn't hear it like you're hearing me now. I just kind of heard it in my mind's, you know, in my mind. But I am you. And I mean, you could have blown me over for I was like, what? And the whole way I'm walking back home, I'm like, I felt so privileged and amazed and like a little confused, like, what just happened to me? And of course, I'm like, that was definitely a spiritual, ish experience. I mean, that was crazy. And I just had never had it that level before. That it wasn't just a feeling, it was like a whole thing. And I had talked to this psychic who said to me, I was like, what happened? What was that? And she said, well, that's you when you completely strip away all of your earth egoic like you. That's you. She was so you could call it your higher self. You could like she was kind of like, yeah, you can call it this, you can call it that. And I'm like, wow, really? Because it seemed so much like a entering in and leaving kind of feeling. And she was like, yeah, that's how it works. Oh, okay. Okay. And if that's our higher self, if that, I mean, like, what do you think? Like, is that your higher self is really just you or soul without the dense, like in my case, the dense energy of Jenny, you know? Um, yeah, I guess. I mean, that makes total sense. I don't know what I thought. I just didn't think this, right? I just was like, okay, all right. It was so profound. And I shared it with my group because I work with it's called Level Up, Lighten Up, and which shameless plug in here. I'm opening up new spots for that group. We're starting round 1 of this year. I've been running this group for 2 years now. So this is the 3rd year we're running it. And we start with round 1 again on the 30th of January. So if you're interested in learning about that, just message me or email me. And I'm happy to give you details. But I shared it with my group, right? Because we talk about all these things. and they were just like, really? Like, so interested, didn't didn't have a lot to contribute in the sense of like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Because I mean, it's not a psychic group. It's a group of self-development, group, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people working on just becoming bigger, their bigger best self, right? And so anyway, when I shared it with them, obviously I don't feel strange sharing this kinds of things with them, but I keep it like that, right? Like today, coming out and sharing this with you is a super huge deal for me because I don't normally do that. There's a big part of me that I just kind of keep private because I know it in my circles, in my real life, people don't talk about this kind of stuff. We just don't. And I mean, I do, but I'm the crazy friend that talks about spiritual stuff, or psychic stuff or esoteric stuff, in real life, not a lot of my friends do. And so that's kind of why I wanted to come on here and start this channel and meet more people like me who maybe you guys could tell me what happened or what you think, or have you been visited by your higher self, like, or anything, anything. I'd love to continue the conversation. That's all. So today we did have Mars go direct. And so I can feel it. I have felt like I was in patient land, being patient since the beginning of the year. I did not jump in, diving in, rolling up my sleeves, busy to achieve goals. No, I felt very much like I'm chill, I'm good, I'm laying back. hanging back, and I'm not sure really why. And then the astrology, though, supports that, right? And I've been doing a lot of clearing and a lot of stripping away for a long time. So I've been doing a lot of inner work. That's what I also help people with. So, you know, having an experience like this, though, coming out and talking about it more publicly, because maybe you're having the same experience and this is so normal. You're going to go, Jenny, of course, this is what happens. This happened to me. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear that in the comments. Anything that's happening, or if it resonates with you, what you think. Um, and just keep the comments nice, because if they're anything not nice, it's just not welcome here. I'm not even going to mess around with it. I'm just going to delete it and move on. So, there's no need to comment if this does not resonate for you. Just keep scrolling, keep moving on. It's okay. We're all good. But if this does resonate with you, I'd love to know your thoughts. Okay. And I will see you soon. Okay. Have a great weekend. Bye.